Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, members of council, welcome back. First meeting of 2018, should be fun. Looks like it's fairly short, but you never know. Anyway, are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest this evening or general nature thereof? I see none. So looking for a mover and seconder to approve the minutes of the council meeting held December 11th. Councillor Dunn, Councillor Hammond. Discussion on that motion. All in favor? Motion carries. Is there any business arising out of those minutes? I see none. So we do have a court of revision this evening. And as always, Councillor Dunn and myself are not members and will not be taking part in the discussion. And I will turn the chairmanship over to Deputy Mayor McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This evening's Court of Revision concerns the South Dales drain, and we have some properties in Chatham, Kent that are affected, and so we would ask the representative, Mr. Rimelaire from Chatham, Kent, to come up and please take a seat, if you don't mind. Welcome. And with that, I'd like to open the Court of Revision, moved by Councillor Verbeke, seconded by Councillor Wilkinson. All in favor? And that's carried. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest amongst anyone? I see none. And with that, I will turn this part of the meeting over to Luann.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. This evening, the only changes I have received for both Chatham and Leamington is from Dennis Dreger. Dennis, if you can come up to the mic. I've invited him up here, but I'll explain what his situation is, and then he can confirm whether or not it's correct information. So he does have two parcels that MPACT has converted back to residential lands that require to be designated as agricultural. So he does have the MPAC assessments in front of him, and we do verify that the properties are farmed. So that would be two changes that will need to be made in the assessment schedule. And then he also has 3 parcels of land down off of Mercier Road 7 at Kent Road 1 that he has recently retiled the farms and is directing his water to the Two Creeks drain in Wheatley. So they need to come out of this assessment schedule. So this evening I'd ask the committee to adjourn the meeting so that the engineer could amend the assessment schedule. It's basically approximately $600 that would have to be reassessed. We can do it? Oh, I'm sorry. I'll have Tony explain something here.
Through the court of revision, the changes can be done through the court. So the changes doesn't have to be done through a new report and then reconsidered or reevaluated through the court. It can be directed by the court of revision to make the amendments for the final bylaw.
Okay, great. Thank you. Ms. Percy, that's fine for the court to do then?
Correct. So the motion that the maintenance schedule of assessment dated November 24th, 2017 for the South Dales drain as amended in the municipality of Leamington, the county of Essex, in accordance with bylaw 91-17 be confirmed.
Okay, thank you. Are there questions in regards to that? Councillor Hammond.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So then this would change the entire assessment for each other piece of property. Do they have to be given advance notice as to the corrections in the assessment?
This meeting technically is that notice. Everybody in the watershed is invited to this meeting to address their concerns and issues with the watershed, and therefore that's why this public meeting has been prepared.
Further to that, then I'll ask anyone from the audience if they wish to speak. Is there anyone from the audience that wishes to speak? No? Okay, well then I will entertain a motion that the maintenance schedule of assessment dated November 24th, 2017 for the South Dales drain as amended in the municipality of Leamington in the County of Essex in accordance with bylaw 91-117 be confirmed. Moved by Mr. Rimmelaar, seconded by Mr. Wilkinson. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. And with that, we'll close the Court of Revision, moved by Mr. Rimmelaar again and Mr. Wilkinson. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you very much.
All right, then. So we'll move on to the reports of staff and delegations. The first report this evening is one regarding the Ontario Municipal Commuter Cycling Program Transfer Payment Agreement. Mr. Sharon?
Thank you, Mayor Patterson and members of council. The Ontario Municipal Commuter Cycling Program is intended to provide dedicated annual funding to Ontario municipalities to support the implementation of commuter cycling infrastructure with the intent of encouraging people to get out of their cars onto bikes for their daily commutes. In September of 2017, the municipality of Leamington submitted an application for funding for this program. The municipality was recently notified of our approval for funding under this program for 2018. It was the 2017-2018 fiscal year of the province, but for our purposes, it's the 2018 year of $117,932. We are able to apply this funds to a list of projects, so the province didn't specifically select projects from which the money had to be spent, but instead approved a list of projects, and that list of projects is included in the council report as Schedule A. We're currently reviewing that list of projects, and we'll come back before council with our recommendation as to where we should spend those funds. This particular report allows us to enter into the agreement with the province in order for them to transfer us the $117,000. We were unsure, I think the province was unsure as well, because the amount of funding to each municipality was contingent upon the level of interest that they were going to get in the particular program. So despite our attempts in September to communicate with them and get an idea as to how much funding we were going to get, we really, with any level of certainty, we couldn't get that number. So we basically had to wait for the notification to let us know how much money we were getting, and then we'll come back to council and recommend a project included in that list. So depending on which projects we recommend, could be one of two scenarios, one being a project that's already included in the 2018 budget, and then we would basically run a surplus on that project at the end of the year. If it is a new project, then we will have to, the municipality of Leamington will have to contribute 20% of the eligible cost, so it would be about another $30,000 in costs. Thus far, we are limited. We have the County Road 20 project that's a possibility for this, though because that work is actually occurring on County of Essex lands, it may get a little bit complicated for that project. So we're going to, as administration, we're going to go back, we're going to review the projects, bring a recommendation forward to council.
Okay, thank you very much. Questions from council? Councilor Verbeke?
With the mayor, thanks. I'm not sure if we talked about it before, but I didn't see it listed on here. What about on Talbot Street? Believe it or not, the high school is busy, still going to McDonald's from Armstrong to at least McDonald's. I don't know if there's any talk of that, but especially with this recent snowstorm there, it's been quite a close call for a few kids that people have told me to. So I didn't know they're using the groove out there, but if there's any talk about putting something in there too, even just up to McDonald's, because then the rest is pretty well paved to Fraser.
Through Mayor Patterson. This particular program is for commuter cycling only, and the province provided a list of criteria that the project would have to meet in order to be eligible. So sidewalks aren't eligible under this particular program. It's focusing on cycling infrastructure. Although what I can do, councilors, is I will go back and look in our sidewalk priority listing and come back to you and basically give council an idea as to when we plan on recommending that we put sidewalks out in that area. I don't have an answer for you right now, but I'll look into it, Councilor.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Hammond?
Your worship, thank you. Rob, I have a couple of questions. The first one being that I've looked at the list, and this is, I mean, it's a wish list, obviously pretty ambitious. What kind of time frame are we looking at, hopefully, to try to complete this? I mean, I try to do some very rough math, right? So I'm looking at how much we got, how much we're looking to spend. I mean, it looks like it could be 10 or 12 years before we could.
Through your worship. This schedule isn't necessarily, when we submitted this list, it wasn't necessarily our intention to complete all of these projects within a specified time frame. It was our strategy to basically identify all of the projects in our active transportation master plan that would be eligible, get them on the list. It didn't hinder us whatsoever. And then it gave us flexibility to basically apply those funds to any project on the list.
Yes, and thank you. And I kind of anticipated that. Are we assuming that the greenhouse carbon tax is going to keep going up? Cap and trade.
Yes, through your worship.
Tough one, eh?
Yeah, certainly I wouldn't be qualified to answer what I think is going to happen with the provincial revenue from cap and trade. I can speak specifically to this agreement that the province put some criteria in here that basically said if their revenue expectations from cap and trade do not materialize, then they have the ability to rescind this program and claw back any unspent monies. That's the best answer I can give you, Councillor.
Okay. No other questions? What are council's wishes? There is a recommendation. Moved by the Deputy Mayor, supported by Councillor Hammond. Discussion on that motion. All in favor? Motion carries. We'll move on to the next item is regarding the dedicated gas tax funds for public transportation. Ms. Orton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This year, funding up to $195,645 has been approved through the province of Ontario under the dedicated gas tax funds for public transportation program. The funding is to be used to ensure that local public transportation services continue and to increase overall ridership through the expansion of public transportation capital infrastructure and levels of service. Council has confirmed its commitment to utilizing dedicated gas tax funds for the benefit of both the conventional transit system and the Erie Shore Community Transit Service, which includes service to the town of Kingsville. As I indicated, up to $195,645 in Ontario dedicated gas tax funding is available to support both these systems. The funds are dedicated and set aside in a reserve fund, and along with any related interest earned on the fund are used for eligible transit-related costs allowed under the funding agreement. In 2018, $16,000 in dedicated funding has been earmarked for capital projects, and approximately $150,000 is budgeted to support expenditures for transit operations. It's anticipated that just over $1 million will remain in the reserve fund at the end of 2018. The recommended action is that the municipality accepts any designation of host municipality by collecting the dedicated gas tax funds on behalf of Leamington and Kingsville, and the mayor and treasurer for the municipality be authorized to execute the letter of agreement between Her Majesty, represented by the Minister of Transportation, and the municipality be bound by the terms of that agreement.
Thank you very much. Questions from council? I see none. Council's wishes then. Moved by Councillor Verbicki, supported by Councillor Wilkinson. Discussion on the motion. All in favor? Motion carries. There were no other matters for consideration. No closed session to report on, or is there? No. All right. And consideration of bylaws, Ms. Percy.
Bylaw 01-18 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Municipality of Leamington at its special meeting held December 12th and 13th, 2017. Bylaw 02-18 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Municipality of Leamington at its meeting held January 8th, 2018.
Council's wishes. Moved by Councilor Verbicki, supported by Councilor Wilkinson. Discussion on the motion. All in favor? Motion carries. And we moved into then notices of motion unrecirculated. Open session. Okay, really quickly, I just want to touch on something, and I was just trying to find the date. Mr. Neufeld, you're going to have to help me on this one. So on the weekend, I got a notification from a local business person, Sheila McBrain of the South Point Sun, and she brought to my attention that there was a bit of an issue with the flags that we are responsible for at the cenotaph. And she mentioned to me, so I got on the phone right away to our CAO, who apparently got on the phone right away to our Public Works Department, who got up out of his chair at home on, was it on Saturday or Sunday? What day did I contact you? Whatever day it was, anyway, it was like at 8:30 at night. Just went out very promptly. One of the flags was flying upside down for some reason. No explanation yet, but it was corrected. So if anybody in the general public was offended by that, we do apologize. It was human error and corrected as quickly as we found out about it. So I just want council to know that administration reacted very, very, very quickly. So, and a big thank you to Ken Brown. If that's it, statements, members, non-debatable. Okay, motion to adjourn. Councilor Dunn, Councilor Hammond. Nobody wants to argue, discuss the motion? No? All in favor? Motion carries. Good night.